माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We are in the second verse of this book. In the very first one, we saw Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik Tadrishyam Draktu Manasam Drishyadhi Vrittaya Sakshi Drgeva Natu Drishyate. The world of objects, things, beings, experiences are observed by our organs of perception. When we are asleep, those things are there, but I cannot recognize them because my organs of perception are inactive. So with my organs of perception, I perceive the world of objects. Through the ears, we hear sound, MP3. Through the eyes, MP4, or whichever format is better. Through the nostrils, the smell, the taste, through the tongue and the skin, touch. So various organs of perception, we receive a lot of data. And when they are active, we perceive the world outside. Without their functionality, the world of objects cannot be perceived. Sometimes, though the organ of perception is open, the mind is otherwise occupied. It happens a lot of times that something happened in your class and you have been thinking about it. Usually they are not that very stimulating, but that day something happened and you started thinking vigorously about it. And somebody on the other side of the road crossing over yelled out your name, waved their hands, and you're looking straight, not at them. Your eyes are open, your ears are also open, but nothing is perceived because your mind is not connected to the data which is received. So the last time I had given an example that many times I've heard people say that they have driven for 30-40 minutes and they reach their home and then they are suddenly in a daze. How did I come here? What was on the road? I don't even remember a little bit of it. That's a scary thought. Because the mind was otherwise occupied into something else. That though the eyes were making a contact, they were seeing, you probably were hearing something, but there is no registration of it because the mind is completely off, tuned off there. Have you experienced such things when you drive? So please give me your contact number and I'll put it on the Waze. And whichever roads you drive, I will refuse to drive in them. Sometimes the mind is there, but the intellect has to be ready to analyze what data is being provided. Otherwise, we go through something and the intellect is not able to grasp what is being entertained or what is being exchanged. Then we immediately lose interest, we become bored, because the intellect is not participating there. Intellect's job is to evaluate. Constantly the intellect's job is to evaluate. So the intellect is the most powerful instrument that we have. The intellect observes the mind, the intellect observes the organs of perception, the intellect observes through these organs of perception the outside world. Dhi vrittayaha sakshi. The buddhi, is the true sakshi of all of these. So we had seen this in the earlier shloka. I had gone one step ahead, that this buddhi's various convictions, ideas also can be observed, but we'll come to that step later. Now in the second shloka, repeat after me. Nila pita sthula sukshma hrasva dirghadi bhedatah. How many of you are able to pronounce it? Do you want me to go a little slower? Hrasva dirghadi bhedatah. Nana vidhani rupani. Pashyet lochanamekadha. His eyes, ears, and everything were open. The mind was otherwise occupied with the shloka. Right now, what we saw there, that was a true example right there. Many of us do it internally. It became too vocal for him. Through these two eyes, we perceive lot of details. Neela, Pita, different kinds of colors. Sthula, Sukshma, that which is gross and that which is subtle. Sthula, Sukshma. Hrasva, Dirgha, that which is short and that which is long. We can see all these details. Sometimes when you go to somebody's house, there are these flowers on the center table. And these days, they make them so look like real that when you really look at the real flowers, you want to now go test. Ye real hai? Are they really real? And when you do that test and you touch the petal or something, and it comes, and everybody is looking at you. And if there is a small kid who doesn't mind to blurt out things, dude, to recognize that it was real, do you have to pluck it out? I didn't pluck it out. It just came. There was that to find, is it real? Because the fake ones also, they're making it with such dewdrops on it and with such reality to it. Our mind observes that. Many times when you see different kinds of cloth textures, the final thing is that you have to use your hand and then see through the texture and then feel it. But then many times, because of your earlier experiences, you look at the cloth and you can pretty much tell whether it is cotton, whether it is satin or velvety, or I think you can make that out, right? Your what do you call the pullovers? What material is it made of? Fleece. So when you look at something which is made of fleece, without even touching it, you can tell that yes, it is made of fleece. If I look at a surface, whether that surface is going to be a hard surface or would it have some softness to it? So about a couple of weeks ago, we had a singing group recording, and there were a couple of them very new, and the recording was happening in the other facility, Chitrakoot. There's a big hall there, Samskriti Nilaya, and it looked like, it's all carpeted. There are two kinds of carpeting, one which has cushioning in it, like the ones that you're sitting right now, just the carpet which is stuck on the floor, pure cement, and it is just glued in there. This kid who came in and he saw that there was carpet, and he should have felt it by his toes and feet touching it. He just slammed himself thinking it was cushioned. And everybody was not see it, that there is no cushioning in there. And I was like, now I know. So when you can even see it and perceive if something is hard, something is soft. And definitely when there are people standing, you can tell who is short, who is tall. What kinds of colors. There was one particular photograph that threw me off. I still can't get it. That one which was circulating quite a bit. Gold and white and blue and black. I still can't get it. There are people who swear by it saying that it is blue and black. And there are people who swear by it that it is gold and white. And there is a reason for it, that there is that range in which the eyes can only perceive a certain shade of it. When you go to the doctor, they do these color blindness test. Have you ever gone through that test? So they said, can you see something here? So there are numbers in it, there are forms in it, and they're like, they stand out if you don't have color blindness. If you have color blindness, then it is like a block of color. You can't see the difference. So through the eyes, Neela Pita, you can see colors. Sthula Sukshma, you can identify that which is gross, that which is subtle. Short, tall, Dirgha Hrasva. Nana Vidhani Rupani Pashyet Lochanam Ekadha. With your eyes, you can see all of these details almost at the same. Now, what happens after seeing this? Though we perceive all these differences, I am perceiving them without being affected by those differences. If I see something orange, do I suddenly become orange? If I see something black, do I suddenly become black? They're only perceived. The perceiver doesn't get impacted by it. Otherwise, it will be funny. Like you see something and those qualities are acquired. Then you can try your luck in the X-Men movie next time. Because they show such qualities. That you see something and there's one, I don't know, it is X-Men or some other, wherein that fellow can touch a surface and his skin to, where was this? X-Men, right? And there was one more, I think it was also in Marvel series. That he touches metal and his skin becomes metallic. No. The same guy? Okay. What's his name? Okay, I forgot. Okay, fine. So imagine if that were the quality, that you see something short and you suddenly become short. You see something long and suddenly become long. Oh, it would have been so much fun. That you see somebody in a nice, shapely six-pack, nice, and suddenly you become that. Now, nothing of that can impact. I also heard it. These differences are seen, perceived, and yet they don't impact the one who is these changes. Now, continuing the logic, the next page. Andhyamandyapatuttveshu netradharmeshu chaikadha sankalpayen manashrotra shrotratva sorry sankalpayen manashrotra Tvagadau yojyatamidam. Andhya mandhya patutveshu netra dharmeshu chaikadha. Differences, all these details can be perceived if your eyes are healthy. I've started sporting this glasses just recently, about what, a year? Yeah. When I would see my cell phone or read this fine print in this book, I had to have a more distance. Like I was having these unusual headaches. So I went to a doctor. I thought I was a very blunt person. This doctor was 10 times more blunt than me. So she checked for 5-10 minutes, and then she looks at me and says, "So you just turned 40, huh? You're getting there." I said, "Yeah, I turned 40, but you don't need to rub it into my face. It happens. Your eyes get bifocal by the time you cross 40. So I said, "What do you mean?" Your both short sight and long sight are messed up, and we will fix you. So until then, I was having a problem with the, even now when I am sleeping and somebody calls, it's quite, my glasses are somewhere, the phone is ringing, and I'm like, I'm trying to read that number. Then when I put my glasses on, now I know who you are. And mine is very small variation. I know of people who have such powerful lenses that they wear that you remove that and they can see only there's no details that can be perceived. I know of a person who has like -18, -20. So I removed his glasses and then I asked him, "Can you see me?" He said, "I can see that a silhouette of you in an orange blob. I can't see any features. I can't make out if you are smiling at me or laughing at me or there's a smirk on your face. I can't tell those details." Andhya mandhya patutveshu. Patutva, something which is very sharp, that you can find those details with such keenness. Now, many of these teachers, I find them that they have this internal vision that you give them a paper, you worked really hard on it, they'll just flip through and suddenly they'll take the red pen and then say, "What is this?" They've not even gone through the whole thing. They found a spelling mistake, they found uh, something which is not rightly written, and you give it to somebody else, they would read through it 10 times and say, "This is good." Because they've not paid that keen, sharp attention in it. Similarly, when we try to perceive, it is the eyes and the sharpness of it. Are blessed with that sharpness that they can see those minute details. Mandya, I just explained that when your eyes become dull, your perception is not that clear. And those people who are andha, andhatva is those who are blind. These are the qualities of the eyes. The eyes are sharp or the eyes are dull, the eyes are blind. Andhyam andhya patutveshu netra dharmeshu chaikadha. This is the nature of the eyes. Through these eyes and its differences, who is it that is perceiving If you cannot read well, there's something inside which is telling that I'm not able to see clearly. You may have amazing vision. Like we were at a camp and we were playing, what do you call the ball that you throw at each other? Dodgeball. We are playing dodgeball. And we, just to spice up the game, we had like multiple balls flying all over the place. And this fellow, poor, he jumped to catch it. But then from the side, he was not ready. He got hit. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. He got hit by it. And then it got pretty badly hit. So he had to be taken out. I was concerned the way he was walking. So I reached out to him and I said, "Wait, are you okay?" I'm okay, but I can't see properly. What happened? The ball hit him so hard that the equipment is shaken up that it is not able to find a focal length. But you are aware that I had clear vision and now I am not having that clear vision. Who is aware of these changes in your vision? We casually say, I am aware of it. Who is that? What aspect of my equipment is able to decipher that I am able to see properly, I am not able to see properly, I am completely blind? So we play this colors, Holi. Have you all played? You should come to the Holi celebration. When is it? April 25th. You should come to the Holi celebration. And for these little kids, little rascals, boy, their target is me. The moment they get colors are issued, first thing they are searching, where is this fellow? It's not like I'm running away, I'm available, but they come, and throw that into my face, into my ears, into my nose, everywhere. So this little kid, I saw he was coming with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of inspiration. So he had a whole fistful of that color and he kept running towards me with that grudging look at, I will have you this time. I said, I am not running away, boy, come slowly. But the angle with which he was coming, it was certain that his head would hit into my stomach. The speed with which he was coming, there was no brakes there. So worried, I was like trying to take that impact. And in that whole commotion, this color from that angle went straight up like this. So I could smell the color in my lungs. My teeth, tongue, there was like a lump of dry powder that hit my upper palate. And the worst was, it went into the eyes. I was like, up until that moment, I had clear vision. I knew something like this is about to happen. I'm trying to stop it. As they say, you cannot stop inevitability. And that kid angle was so perfect, it went straight into my eyes. I could not see for a moment. And when this dry powder hits your eyes, usually anything else, the water, it's immediately flushes out. But so much of dry powder, there was not enough wetness in the eyes, and they were like kind of glued in, stuck. So I can, like for that few moments, I was like blind. But who is aware that I am not able to see any further? And because of that color, I washed it. There was this permanent red color of my eyes. Color. It is not the color that is stuck there, it is that the reaction that is happening. When the eyes hurt, who is aware of that? That the eyes are hurting. And let's take another example of another organ of perception. When your nostrils are clogged, these sinus, what do you call those, pollen allergies, and you have completely clogged. Sometimes when I'm cooking and I ask somebody to taste, Sabiji, it's all blocked. I cannot taste, I cannot smell. Who is able to be aware of the fact that that faculty, that particular instrument is not functional, through which I am aware of the entire world of smell, world of seeing. But there is something inside which tells me when I am blinded, when I am not able to see, when I am not, it's all very hazy, or at that moment when it is clear. Sankalpayen manaha shrotra tvagadav yojyatam idam. The mind. So when in Vedanta we use the word mind, it is different from when we use it in day-to-day language. So let me bring you to that same page of understanding. In the outside world, when we use the word heart, when somebody said something, or when your dearest friend is leaving, or you thought you were in love and that person said, no, we cannot continue further. जब दिल ही टूट गया, when you realize that you have been dumped, something happens, कुछ होता है. In a colloquial language, interactive language, we say that it is heart. When we have to bring a focus and apply ourselves to resolve something, work on something, finish our or study into our exams, we say, put your mind into it. That is the normal usage. But when we use in Vedanta, that which is colloquially called as the heart, we refer to that as the mind. And that which has to be focused to grasp is called the intellect. So what is the difference between the mind and the intellect? Both mind and intellect are nothing but they're made of the same thing. It is both the mind and the intellect are made of thoughts. But the textural difference in both of them is how it is applied, how the thought gets applied. We get to understand if it is a mind or if it is an intellect. Any chemistry students here? No one? Okay, up until your 12th grade, did you study chemistry? Cool. Have you heard of the term called isomers? You have? Good. What is an isomer? One at a time, please. Who goes? Okay. Same molecular formula but different structural formula. Right? Its structure is different. It looks similar. When do you know that it is different? When you apply it into some kind of a chemical equation, or when you use it, one reacts in one way, the other reacts in completely other way. Similarly, the thought texture decides whether it is mind or intellect. What kind of texture are we talking about? So I'll give you the qualities of mind first. That thought is called of a mind nature, which is of the seat of emotions and feelings. That where we perceive emotions and feelings, those thoughts are called mind. First one. Whether it is joy, whether it is sadness, whether it is anger, whether it is jealousy, compassion, all of these feelings, that thought is called of the nature of mind. The second attribute or quality of understanding mind. When the thought structure is in such a way that it is constantly indecisive. Should I go to today's satsang or not? About 5:45, 6:15, 6:30, I'm still thinking. Should I? Should I not? In a Shakespearean language, to be or not to be, whenever that fluctuations are happening, that kind of thought is called a mind. Should I eat this or should I eat that? Constantly fluctuating. But once I decide, you know what? Today I decide that I don't want to go to satsang, or I want to go to satsang. Either way, you have made a decision. When there is that firmness of decision made, that kind of a thought is called the intellect. Am I making clear? Because many of you are hearing it for the first time, so it may be weird to comprehend it, because it is not the same language that you normally use in the regular day-to-day world. If you have any confusion, just raise a hand and I'll go over it again. So far, are you on the same page? So when the mind is constantly fluctuating and it is not able to decide, that indecisive nature of thought is called mind. The third one, which is the most important one, is mind functions in the realm of known. What am I having in my hand? A box of tissues. What am I having in my hand? A pillow. A bottle of water. I've shown you things and you're able to name them. It is round, orange in color. Do you know what I'm talking about? Sun, okay, an orange, a basketball. What else? What? What did she say? Meet me afterwards. No, I'm not saying it out loud in the mic. So I give you something to imagine, visualize, and your mind is able to grasp what it is. And if I had added one more attribute to it, it tastes sour. So your mind can visualize, mind can function in the realm of known. But if I ask you a question, have you ever eaten Damadaka Duchi? Have you guys eaten? You've grown up in this country, right? And still you have not? The texture is a little weird, but the taste is awesome. What was the first reaction that you had as soon as you heard Damadaka Duchi? What is that? Everything is made up of something or the other. Then it's not something really, just some word which has no meaning made up. What else came in your mind? See, the questioning pattern is, what even is that? Is it even real? See, the questioning, the mind has never experienced or heard of this material called Damadaka Duchi. If it was something that was already experienced, your mind would have already grasped it. But that which is not in the realm of known, unknown, when the thoughts are of investigative nature, to understand, to grasp, to decipher, of thought is called an intellect. That which functions in the realm of unknown. And it is of decisive nature. That is the intellect. But both of them are nothing but thoughts. So the mind is the seat of emotions. The intellect is the seat of decisions. The mind is fluctuating. The intellect is firm, decisive. The mind functions in the realm of known. The intellect functions in the realm of unknown. The mind gathers all the data, but it does not process the data. Who processes the data? The intellect processes it. But since many of you are from the new age education, there will be one burning question in your heads. Then what is the difference between brain and mind? I like to put it out in this way. Brain is the hardware and the mind is the software. Does it make sense? Because I don't know what I have just said, but if it makes sense, I'm fine with it. Mind is the physical thing. The brain is the physical thing. The mind is subtle, which functions through that brain. So here, when it is said that all these different details of the outside world is perceived by the eyes, of your perception in the eye, whether it is dull, whether it is not able to perceive, or it is perceiving it sharply, there is someone who is analyzing it, someone who is aware of the functionality of the eyes. Sankalpayen manaha. That who is aware of these aspects of the organs of perception and action is called the mind. That's why when we want to interact or go out and do something, let's go out and play ultimate frisbee. No, today I don't feel like it. Can we go watch a movie? Now, who is it that is responding? It is that mind which is able to perceive its organs of perception. Today, my limbs are not in a condition that it can run out and do something because yesterday I did a 10K. My limbs are sore. I would want to relax, maybe watch a movie. So, who is able to perceive that soreness? The mind perceives the organs of perception action, the ability, the deficiency, and the functionality of it. Sankalpayen manaha. Of all organs of perception and action, Shrotatvagadav Yojyatam idam. This is how the whole function of perception happens. Just because something is there, I cannot understand its presence unless my organs of perception are able to receive the data. Receiving the data, if the mind is not available, then that data goes completely waste. The mind is not there. Like you are lost in your thought, and sitting from here, I can tell if somebody is paying attention or somebody is playing around or somebody is lost in a thought. Sometimes I have the habit of calling them out. So suddenly I look at them and say, so, when this is what the mind is, how should the intellect be? And suddenly caught off guard. Like, what? Come again? Can you say that again? Where was the mind? The sounds were being received. And if you look at it from my angle, usually when the recording happens, it is me on that. I feel many times that I should have the camera and capture all the expressions. Sometimes when they are present and their mind is completely off, oh man, they are expressions to watch. And the tough part is not the watching. After watching it, that I should not be laughing. I should not lose it. I should maintain that poker face and still continue without getting distracted. Understand that blank look? Off. If it was a classroom environment, I have the habit of throwing something at them to catch their attention. You. No, there's nobody like that. I'm just giving an example. Because the mind is not there to grasp. So the organs of the field of objects, the organs of perception should be available. Though the organs of perception are available, the mind should be connected and be ready to process that which is being received. So much, are we on same page? Then what does this intellect do? That we will see next week. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.